Welcome everybody back to another episode of Recipes from a Putwin Kitchen. My name is Casey Willard. I'm the Tribal Executive Chef for the Yocha Dihi Winta Nation. And today we're featuring another beautiful dish. We're gonna do a beautiful duck confit ravioli with a puree of butternut squash, beautiful little blood orange reduction sauce, and we're gonna do a beautiful stuffing in that ravioli of duck confit, mushrooms, some herb cream cheese, some different herbages. So I think it'll be a beautiful, well-composed dish that kind of highlights a little bit of Italian cuisine and also brings in some indigenous flavors with the duck, how we prepare the duck, especially with the preserving of the duck, right? Confit is a way of preserving meat, right? Confit is kind of stored in fat. So we've stored this duck in its own fat, but we've also added some beautiful Second Hills olive oil to help bridge past and future together. So in order to start the ravioli, we got to make the pasta dough. Now pasta dough can be intimidating, but we're going to make this super simple. If you have your three ingredients, we're going to use flour. You can use AP flour if you like. That's what I'm using today. You could use a regular egg, but today I'm going to use a duck egg to help bring in more fat into that pasta dough. The duck egg is a little bit bigger, as you can see. It's equivalent to about 2 yolks, so it's about two farm chicken eggs. It's about 1 duck egg. So in order to get this going, let's build a well. So we're going to build a well right here on our cutting board. Start with some flour. So we'll do about 1 pound of flour to about 2 eggs and about 1 yolk. So this might be a little bit less, but we can always kind of add as we go. Pasta can be very forgiving. So this is my trick. I'm going to make a little well, and this is how you're going to start. I want a little bit deeper. So let's crack our eggs. Like I said, it's a very hard shell. We'll crack that right into the dough, right into the flour. We'll crack that egg right into the flour. Let's go 1, and then I'm going to do a yolk. Back and forth. Let's see what that looks like. We'll do a little bit of olive oil, Second Hills olive oil. Of course, this is our Albertina line. We'll do a little there. And as you can see, if you build that beautiful well, it keeps everything enclosed, right? Nothing's spilling, nothing's going out. I'm gonna do a little bit of water. This is room temperature water. Try not to use cold water. Now water is, you may need it, you may not need it. It just depends on how thirsty your flour is. And we'll kind of gauge that as we go. Kind of break your yolks. Start to kind of turn them. And as you can see, you're keeping everything inside. You can see you're picking up a little bit of flour. That's okay. You want to kind of start just incorporating a little bit of flour as we go, right? It's not a mad dash. You're just trying to be very soft with it. Kind of incorporate as we go. Fold, turn, fold, turn. And as you're looking at this, make sure you're looking at to see, hey, do I have enough liquid in here? If you have a bench knife, you can use a bench knife. This might help. Still looks a little dry to me. So I'll take a little more olive oil. And I'm going to do a little bit more water. You can see it's coming together a little bit. Still looks a little dry. So I think at this point, I'm going to kind of make another well, and I'm going to add 1 more egg to it. I think I might add 1 more egg yolk. A little more fat in there. Let's see if we can't start trying to combine this. Start using our hands a little bit, get a little dirty. And you can tell it's starting to come together. And with pasta, you just start kneading it like you would dough. You want to put a little elbow grease into it. You really want to kind of do it for about 10 to 12 minutes. Just keep kneading, folding. And then this will have to rest, of course, for about 10 to 15 minutes. That's why I always make my pasta first. So we'll just let this sit. Put it back into the bowl. Let that sit for about 10, 15 minutes. Then we'll come back, we'll make our filling, and we'll finish with our sauce. Now that we have our dough, let's let it rest. Let's set it to the side, and we can start our filling. We're gonna have a lot of mushrooms. We'll have some leeks, some herbs. So first let's start with our leeks. These are beautiful aromatics. I'm not gonna use any onions. I'm just gonna use leeks today. You kind of want this a nice rustic chop. We have a hot pan going, a little olive oil, Secca Hills, of course. Leeks go in. That little stir. We'll get right into our mushrooms. These will just be a rough chop. Now when you add your mushroom, you gotta make sure you have enough either olive oil or butter in here because mushrooms absorb. They take a lot of moisture. So let's turn this up a little bit higher heat. I'm gonna hit it with a little more Secca Hills olive oil. I have a little bit of butter. I always like to add olive oil first because it helps keep the butter from burning. So if you add olive oil first, add your butter second, it kind of helps it from turning into brown butter quicker than you anticipated. I'm gonna do a little bit of garlic. In goes the mushrooms. Kind of just give it a toss. So you can see already that the mushrooms are taking up all the moisture. They're sucking in all that fat, olive oil, a little bit of butter. So you have your mushroom sauteing with your leeks. They're getting translucent. They're cooking down a little bit. This is the perfect time to deglaze. Like I said, we'll take a little Sauvignon Blanc from Secca Hills. You really want that wine to cook down. You're really looking for that sweetness, that dry flavor. I'm gonna add a little bit of chicken stock. As you can smell the wine. It's reducing. And it's gonna evaporate out. The mushroom's gonna absorb all that flavor, all that liquid. You can kind of tell, you can kind of part the sea here. And once it starts thickening up, it'll start slowly coming back together. And you wanna make sure your mushrooms are fully cooked. You wanna make sure everything's fully cooked because it's going inside that ravioli. We'll incorporate some of our herb cream cheese. Kind of let that residual heat from your mushrooms kind of help soften the cheese a little bit more. Let's get our duck confit out. We can take a look at, see how the duck is resting. This has been sitting in fat for a couple of weeks. Usually confit is about 2 to 3 weeks. And it just goes back to that whole preservation. Preserving. So you're out hunting, you're out gathering, you're foraging. How do you preserve it for the winter time? How do you preserve it for future use? You have to get creative, and using the animal's own fat was a genius way, and they figured it out, and it's preserved meat for thousands of years. So I'll take a little bit of this duck out. I'm gonna give it a coarse little chop. I want to add a little bit of that beautiful aged olive oil in the duck. Back into our bowl. If you wanted to incorporate any type of the meat, you could, but I really wanted to showcase duck this year. Cape Valley is home to a lot of migrating birds, a lot of geese, ducks. So it's just a beautiful way of paying homage to that and to our surrounding area. So now that our filling is tightening up on us, we can go back to our pasta. Like I said, let your pasta sit. This has been sitting for 10-15 minutes. We can pull it out, look at it. You might want to add a little more flour to your base, just so it doesn't stick. A little flour on your hands. Always make sure your pasta machine has flour. Kind of give it a nice little dust. I'm going to cut this in half. As you can see, it has beautiful layers to it. Nice, it's resting really nice. So we can come back and kind of press it down, like I said, a little flour. And then we'll just kind of feed it through. Still a little thick. Once it's all the way through, we can kind of look at it. We can kind of bring it out. So I'm going to cut this down again in half. We can look at 2, see what 2 looks like. You're kind of just going back and forth, looking at it. We'll go 3. Take a look at it. As you can see, it's getting thinner and thinner. Now ravioli, you want ravioli on the thinner side, but it also needs to be not too thin where it dissipates when it hits the water. So I'd recommend taking it to about a 6 or a 7. So now I think this looks pretty good. So I'm going to come back again and I'm going to cut it again. I'm going to try and make it into a perfect rectangle. So you can make raviolis large, small. This is the style I'm using today. It's a beautiful round cut. It's crimped. Fillings inside. These will cook nicely, cook evenly. So what you would do, you come back, get a little bit of your filling. Take a little bit of that sauce and use it as a wash. This is going to help seal the dough. And you kind of just fold on top. Make sure it's crimped on all edges. You want to get that air out. So you can make your raviolis any type of style you want. Cut a little excess off. These are going to be almost like bow tie raviolis. If you wanted to, you can crimp them in the middle. So now that we have our raviolis finished and ready, let's get them in the water. Nice salted boiling water. And while they're boiling, let's get our other saute pan going. We'll get a little olive oil in, Second Hills of course. And hit it with a little butter. Might do a little thyme. Just make a nice herb butter mixture. We're also going to incorporate a beautiful butternut squash puree. Now this squash is done super simple. It's roasted off in the oven till the skin falls off. Pureed through a little salt, pepper, some cinnamon, almost like a little pumpkin pie spice. This is going to be your base for your raviolis. So our raviolis are looking pretty good. We can transfer them now to our buttered pan. We can get these right in here. We're just looking to brown. Incorporate a little bit of that herb butter we just made. And while these are bathing in butter and Second Hills olive oil, let's go ahead and build our plate. Turn them. Just let these raviolis pick up all that herb, absorb that butter, absorb that olive oil. This is our blood orange gastrique. Add a little sweetness. Finish with a little bit of some purple microgreens. Beautiful chopped chive. And here it is, a beautiful duck confit ravioli, beautiful butternut squash puree, another beautiful recipe from the Putwin Kitchen. Chef Casey signing off. Hopefully you enjoy this in your home. Thank you.